Hi, I'm Linda. I'm a life coach in the United States. Let me share with you a 3-step recipe for life coaches that they sometimes use. And first is vision or the goal. And this is more than I want to buy a car. There's a why behind it. Why do you want to buy a car? Maybe what you want is to buy a bigger car because your family's growing. Or I want to go to grad school. Why do you want to go to grad school? Maybe there's a certain profession that you want to work in and it requires an education and a degree and a license to be able to work in that career. And then alignment. What beliefs, actions, emotions, and thoughts do you have, and do they all line up? And then there's something called ecology, which has to do with what surrounds you, the people and the environment. Does everything internally and outside of you, is it all in alignment for you to work towards this vision or goal? And then the plan. Where are you starting? Where do you want to go? And there's more than one path, kind of like a road trip. You can take short way, you can take the long way, you can take the scenic way. There's different ways to get to the same end goal. So do you have options and choices available to you? Do you have a plan or steps that you can take to work towards your vision to make your dreams come true? So the vision or goal, alignment, and the plan. And those 3 things are things that I have tools and resources that I could share with you, or to ask the right questions to really support you through those 3 steps. Now I'm going to use this 3-ingredient recipe to share with you an example from my life from before I was actually introduced to coaching. Had I had this simple 3-ingredient recipe, I actually might have made different choices and had my vision or goal become reality. And that vision was when I was in college, I really wanted to do some kind of a little research project with Pilates. I loved Pilates. I loved what it was doing for my body, and I wanted to contribute to the community in some way. At that point in time, there were just a few published studies that were pretty small in the literature, so I wouldn't have needed to do a really big study at that point in time. So that was my vision, or my goal, was to contribute and share Pilates with the world. Alignment-wise, in undergrad, I worked hard. I got 2 associate degrees. One was an associate degree in medical assisting with a therapeutic massage specialty, where I got 1,000 hours of hands-on massage training. Then when I was working on my bachelor's, I worked very hard on learning statistics and writing and reading the literature and developing all the skills that I might need to do a research project in grad school. So my vision and goal and my behaviors and my thoughts and my emotions were all lined up. But then I got to grad school, and it came time for that big project that you do. Now, this was a clinical doctorate versus a PhD, but where my plan came undone was when I talked to my advisor about wanting to do a research study with Pilates. Now, granted, I knew Pilates teachers and Pilates studios, and I knew that the school had an IRB, and I had worked so hard in undergrad. She said that it was somewhat ambitious to want to do my own project, and that I should consider helping a professor with their project instead. And then when I came home, I was a newlywed at the time. My husband at that time didn't have confidence in my skills and abilities to pull it off. he kind of advised me also to listen to my advisor. Now that threw my alignment off. At that time, I was in my 20s, and I didn't know how to navigate fear of failure or rejection, or how not to be a people pleaser. I didn't know how to have that conversation of, I worked really hard and I think I could do this. I didn't know how to have that confidence in myself and my abilities. So I did. Me and a couple other classmates helped the professor with not a Pilates study, but a pilot study. That's a study that's kind of novel and new. And we looked at correlations between spinal range of motion and strength and balance reactions in both young and older adults, which actually is a very interesting topic. So somewhere in the library for the university that I went to is still that paper from the results of that small pilot study. But as I look back, I do regret not having a conversation for doing my own Pilates study. So I started being coached and working with coaches in my 30s. This example that I shared happened in my early 20s before I even had experience with what coaching was outside of athletics. And now knowing what coaching is and what it can do and how it can help you make informed decisions and generate choices and resources for yourself, I think I'm probably going to continue with coaching for the rest of my life. Now, was my education a total failure? No, it was actually quite successful. Like I mentioned, I got 2 associate degrees, a bachelor's, and a doctorate. I got my license. I built a small massage practice, had Pilates clients, did some work as a physical therapist. I've done a lot of things, and I've continued on learning outside of formal education to get certified in things like herbalism and life coaching and neurolinguistic programming and meditation and personal training. And so I have been very successful as a lifelong learner and continuing to grow throughout my life. But when I went through and I scanned my handwritten college notes, especially when I got to those statistic notes, and was like, I learned so much that I didn't use and I could have. That's where I had those moments of, I wish I would have tried. And so this is part of my why, my alignment as a life coach, is that I don't want you to look back at your life and say, what if I would have tried? If you have a vision or a goal, is it possible for you to check your alignment and to come up with a plan and to make that vision or goal come true? As a life coach, my vision is actually you. And I hope that everything I've learned is something that I can put into a good stewardship and use of. Because if something enhanced my life, maybe it's valuable enough that it might enhance yours too. And so as a life coach, going behind what I do, I kind of really want to create a safe space for growth, that container, to help you do the best that you can with the resources that you have, to empower you to build resilience, and to help you face challenges and move forward in life with grace. So if you have a vision, if you want to talk about alignment, maybe you have some conflicts, or you want to make a plan, if you want to talk about your why, to really dig deep, I offer online coaching right now by the session in most places in the United States. So I invite you to reach out. with the information that I have along with this video so that we can get you started. Because your vision is important to me. Everyone, may you live well.